Cuba, a Caribbean island that is right next to the United States, so close that you can even swim there. And look, there are Cubans who have actually tried it, you know? It's only about 150 kilometers from the western tip of the island to Florida, a very dangerous crossing that many people have already taken in search of a better life. Cuba is surrounded by a spectacular turquoise sea, between the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Atlantic Ocean. And the capital, Havana, is a true pearl of this country, full of beautiful colonial buildings, old cars running like they were brand new, and streets pulsating with music and energy all the time. But do you know what really leaves any tourist speechless in Havana? The locals. And look, I have to be honest here, especially the Cuban women, you know? If you know what I mean? They are known for being beautiful, friendly, and with a unique way that makes any foreigner want to drop everything and live there. And it is precisely this charm that attracts tourists from all over the world, everyone wanting to understand this magical chemistry between locals and visitors. Curious to know how this relationship full of charm, warmth, and some embarrassing moments works there? Then stay here with me and I will tell you all about it. An avenue that was once the beating heart of commerce in Havana. That's right, this is Avenida San Rafael. Back in the day, it was the kind of place where everything happened, you know? That place where everyone went to see and be seen. Today, although its former shine has faded a bit, there are still a lot of cool things there. You walk down the streets and come across a super interesting mix of colonial architecture with that vintage touch of the Art Deco style. Like that place where you don't even know if it's stuck in time or if it's simply way ahead of our times. And look how curious it is. As you walk, you hear the Cuban rhythm being played live by street musicians, and they are not just any musicians. There are people there who would put on a complete show on any stage in the world, and they are there in the most simple way, in the middle of the street. Seriously, is that or isn't that a charm that is unique to Havana? San Raphael Avenue is like a perfect miniature of Cuban reality, my friend. You know those contrasts in soap operas and movies that you think are exaggerated? Well, here they are so real that you almost feel like a cultural slap in the face. On one side, we have the stores where you pay in Cuban pesos, which are very affordable for locals. On the other, those little stores that charge in convertible currency made especially for tourists, and for their pockets, of course. And then you think, oh, but it's just commerce, right? No, folks, it's much more than that. It's an avenue that breathes daily life, full of popular cafes, the kind that are really simple, but with a coffee that you won't forget anytime soon. It will probably be accompanied by a good dose of Cuban conversation and friendliness. Because, seriously, these guys know how to talk. Walking along San Rafael is like diving into a unique atmosphere. Each bench has a different story, and even a quick stop for a rest becomes a complete experience. I'm serious. You need to see it up close to understand what I'm talking about. Now, let's get into a delicate subject, but one that is very real in Havana. They are the professionals of love, if you know what I mean. First, forget any cliches you have in mind, because even that is different here. Many of these girls speak several languages, are educated, and surprisingly, seek relationships that go beyond the superficial. It is not uncommon to hear stories of tourists who return to Cuba precisely to meet them again, building deeper connections. And of course, if you are interested, here's a tip. Avoid intermediaries who only want to profit at your expense. Be calm, respectful, and clear. It's worth remembering that these people are trying to improve their lives in a country full of challenges. Oh, and regarding the laws, things are not completely legalized, but they are not strictly enforced either. In other words, common sense and respect always prevail. Guys, here are some tips for surviving in Havana. Practical tips to make your visit even more peaceful. First, keep that gold chain you love at home, okay? Havana is safe, but don't show off. No one wants to show off and end up without their jewelry and with a big scare. And another thing, my friend, illicit substances. The police here don't mess around, so don't be smart, okay? And when it's time to take pictures, hold that camera. Forget about taking pictures of police officers or military installations, or you might end up experiencing a very untouristy massage. Oh, and speaking of troubles, be careful with street food. Yes, I know it looks delicious and super authentic, but no one wants to ruin their vacation with a little intestinal problem, right? So pay close attention before eating and focus on things that are well cooked or fried. Better than spending your vacation on the throne, right? Now I'm going to tell you some truths so you don't end up looking like an innocent tourist on the streets of Havana. First, be especially careful with the famous jineteros. Oh, but who are these guys? Well, jineteros are those seemingly friendly people who appear out of nowhere with a great offer, an unmissable restaurant, a wonderful tour, an exclusive nightclub. Sounds great, right? But it's not! The problem is that these people usually get paid commissions to take tourists to specific places where the prices are absurdly high and, of course, a little bit always ends up going back into their pockets. Well, be careful. The rule here is simple. If it's too good to be true, be suspicious. Give them a polite smile, say, "Thanks, I'm cool," and go on your way. Don't be too trusting, or they'll insist until they wear you down. Another very important point is the famous Cuban cigars. I know, you've arrived in Cuba and you're dying to take some original cheap Cohibas home. Then someone appears on the street, very friendly, offering you exactly that at a reasonable price. But look, these incredible cigars sold informally are almost always counterfeit. They're often made with banana leaves, newspaper, or anything but tobacco. In other words, you could end up buying a cigar that's absolutely worthless, in addition to running the risk of having a problem with the police if they're illegal products. My recommendation here is very clear. Only buy from authorized official stores where you will receive a certificate guaranteeing authenticity. It may be more expensive, I know, but at least you won't run the risk of looking like a fool later. And an essential tip, perhaps the simplest: don't drink tap water. The water in Cuba is not safe to drink straight from the tap. Even if you see that it is clear and apparently clean, don't trust it. The water infrastructure is old, and the water may be contaminated with bacteria or parasites. I'm not joking. The last thing you want on vacation is to spend the day in the bathroom with intestinal problems. Don't you agree? So always opt for bottled mineral water and ensure that your vacation is peaceful and without unpleasant surprises. Hey! If you're enjoying this trip to Cuba, do the following. Give us a boost and share the video with that friend of yours who can't stand seeing a beautiful Cuban woman without getting a stiff neck. That way, YouTube will get the message and deliver this content to more people. Okay? We're in this together. If you're used to using American credit cards, I'll warn you right now, in Cuba, they'll become a museum piece. Take cash, that's right. Take enough cash so that you don't have to do those mental calculations in the middle of your trip, trying to remember whether you can buy that extra mojito or not. Another important thing is where to exchange your money. Don't accept that incredible offer to exchange money on the street from a guy who guarantees you the best price in town. The tip here is to check out the informal market on websites like El Toque or exchange money with the owner of the house where you are staying. This is what makes paying your bills safe and comfortable. And since we're talking about comfort, there's an app you need to download before you set foot on the island. It's called La Nave. It's like the Cuban Uber, cheap, safe, and practical. You'll avoid that famous scam of taxis with inflated prices just because you look like a foreigner. Last but not least, accommodation. You will always find accommodation in licensed private homes. How can you identify them? Easy! There is a blue sign with a picture of a little house at the entrance. This will guarantee your safety, comfort, and, who knows, maybe even an authentic Cuban coffee served with a good conversation. This way, your trip will be peaceful, safe, and, most importantly, fun. The people here have a natural charm that wins over many people, especially tourists. Cuban women, for example, are friendly, communicative, and of course, very beautiful, which can leave any visitor enchanted. But don't worry, It's easy to fall in love during the holidays, but it's important to remember that not all relationships that start this way go much further than the trip. Sometimes, the interest may involve money or an opportunity for a better life. This doesn't mean that there aren't genuine feelings, but it's essential to have balance and not idealize too much. So, you know how it is, right? There are always those tourists who get emotional during their trip and end up getting involved with someone. It all seems like a fairy tale, and before you know it, they are sending money regularly to help these girls. And it doesn't stop there. Some return to the island several times just to meet them again. Now, let me tell you, some of these stories even turn into long-lasting relationships. It's like a movie romance, you know? But let's be realistic. Many of these adventures remain only in vacation memories. That classic, "it was good while it lasted" feeling. The tip here is clear. Always be honest. Treat people with respect and enjoy the moment without creating too many expectations. Man, you're really special, you know that? Not just anyone can stand to hear all the nonsense I say, no. So I know you're one of the real rooters on the channel. Comment below. Cuba. And of course, if you want to know my super honest opinion about this incredible country, just click on this video that's showing on the screen now. There I opened up without any mercy, no filter whatsoever. Come on, I'll see you on the other side, okay?